If you think you're going to be able to get the DJI FPV and fly it straight out the box with no FPV experience, just get your money. Prior to owning the DJI FPV, I had little to no FPV experience. All I had flown was this little BetaFPV kit here, which I could never really get on with just because the goggles kept disconnecting, it was an analog signal, and I just didn't love it. But FPV was just something that I knew I wanted to try and get into at least. I think Potato Jet kind of intensified that a bit, just seeing where he started and where he is now. He just made it look so easy. But I know with FPV what's involved in like building them, soldering, and certain things working with other ones, and analog and digital, and no thank you. But if you spend the right amount of money, in my case about 2,000 Canadian, everything works straight out the box and I don't have to worry about any of those things. So I put in about 4 hours into the sim, which I know is the right way to do it, before I went out and flew it in the real world for the first time. And then I quickly realized that it's a lot faster, a lot more sensitive, and a lot more twitchy than the sim could ever replicate. I was chatting with Jake Sloan and he said the reason it's so hard in the sim versus real life is because the sim doesn't give you a real sense of speed. Doesn't give you a sense of scale. As soon as you fly in the real world, you're so much more aware of how quickly things come up, how close you are to things, how big things are, how fast the drone flies. And it's terrifying, mostly for fear of crashing and just destroying this drone and wasting all that money. Yeah, I bought refresh, but I don't want to have to use it straight away. Think back to the very first time that you flew a regular drone and how anxious you were. Palms are sweaty, your knees are weak, your arms are heavy. You get the idea. It's like that, but 10 times stronger. I'd almost go as far as to say that the simulator gives you a full sense of security, so you kind of push it. There's no risk of crashing. Like if you do crash, nothing happens, you just restart. Kind of like playing poker with no money involved. It's fun, but it's not fun, if that makes sense. All credit to DJI for putting out this sim and having it work flawlessly with your iPhone, with the goggles, with the remote. Everything works great, but I think it's probably better to just go out there and fly in a big open field opposed to learning to fly in the sim first. Now, with all that being said, my finger was constantly hovering above the oh shit button. It's basically a button that air brakes the drone. It takes it from manual mode to regular mode and it just kind of hovers there. Brakes really, really quickly and it's super loud, but it works great. Allows you to change your pants and recompose yourself. That feature alone, fantastic. I love it. Hey, if you like this video, chances are you probably will like the other videos I make too. So maybe try hitting subscribe down below. Alright, thanks. Now I did partly buy the DJI FPV with a small glimmer of hope that I'll be able to sell the Mavic Air 2 and replace the Mavic Air 2 with the DJI FPV just flying in normal mode. Idiot! The video and photo quality is completely okay for what I need. I had some great ideas for weddings, for real estate, but right now I feel like I don't have anywhere near the control that I need to fly it as precisely as I can with like the Mavic Air 2. I've seen lots of people saying the DJI FPV flies just like the Mavic series, the Mini series, and the other DJI drones. And honestly, it doesn't. I got a lot of hours flying traditional DJI drones, flying over big bodies of water, mountains, in the snow. It doesn't faze me anymore. I'm very confident in my abilities flying those kinds of drones, but not in the slightest when it comes to flying this. It has that great DJI build quality, but in terms of actually piloting it, it's nothing like flying those other drones. So if you're thinking of going that route too, be aware. Right, that's what I previously had scripted. When I make videos, I put in a lot of time and a lot of testing to make sure that when I can make these, they're honest opinions from someone that's actually used this for a fair amount of time. So every time I was going out and flying this thing, I was coming back and updating my thoughts for what I call like a script. It's more a set of bullet points or notes I want to talk about, but I was updating it every time. There was even a point where I actually said that I had complete buyer's remorse. I was past the return period, I was kind of gutted, and I just wanted to sell it because I couldn't get on with it. But about 60 minutes into flying, which is basically 6 batteries, remember I only have 2, so that's multiple trips going out, my opinions changed. And that was also part to the video that I'm putting on the screen right now, and I'll link down below for you too. This guy talks about changing the rates that are just the default ones set to the drone straight out of the box to make it a lot less sensitive, a lot less twitchy. And he is so right. The very first time that I changed to these rates, I put into normal mode, flew in sport mode, and it was like flying a completely different drone.
It's an entirely different kind of flying.
It was instantly comfortable, whereas before I just really wasn't. It was like a switch had gone off in my head and now I could actually fly this thing and it was fun. And I put it into manual mode and again, I felt so much more comfortable flying it. I had a huge wind that day. I didn't have wind. There was a huge wind that day. And the drone was kind of flying at an angle like this, like those videos of planes landing into a crosswind. But it's still such an easier drone to fly, but I could still have the FPV look. If you've just picked this up or you're having a real hard time flying it, I urge you to change to the rates that I'm just going to put on the screen right here, and I'll link the guy's video down below. The rates are just a fancy way for how sensitive it is, but it makes a huge difference and you'll have fun with it, which is kind of why you're buying this, right? To have fun. It wasn't fun to fly before. It was terrifying. Every time a flight ends now, I want more. I need more batteries so I can go and fly it again. I was not getting that before. Felt like I was making flying progress. Going around trees, it was just in sport mode. I was still practicing in manual, but I was having a lot of fun just flying fast in sport mode with this. If I'm honest, unless you want to do flips and you just kind of want that like FPV look while getting some nice video, you might find that normal or sport mode is enough for you. But anyway, this is where we can talk about now how well made this actually is. I started to get a little bit too comfortable. I hit a tree. I lost control. Tried to get it back in control, but it bounced off the ground. It flicked up a bunch of dirt, and from what I can tell, it cartwheeled into the woods in the air at speed. I thought I'd be able to find this easily, but if you follow me on Instagram, you would have already seen the story.
It's got to have been pretty bad because the aircraft is no longer turned on and I had nearly a full battery, which means the battery came out or it's
Probably a good hour or so in the woods just looking around trying to figure out where I'd crashed it. Now refresh doesn't cover loss, only flyaways. I didn't have my phone connected, so I had no GPS, and I was recording on the drone itself, not on the goggles, so I had no video to look at the last few moments. Actually conceded and went home. Thought I'd lost it and that was it, money just wasted. Now after getting home I did some research and realized that the goggles actually cache your flights, very low quality version, so I was able to go in and look at the last few frames before it went into the trees and kind of get some clues as to where it went.
Well, that's the stick, so that means it's somewhere around here. I was looking like way over there before, so it's in here somewhere.
And I found it.
Didn't take very long, did it?
Aside from a few little superficial scratches, the battery popping out like 15 feet away from where it landed.
Okay, there's the battery. And there's the drone.
And a lot of dirt on the underneath of the arms of the props there, which is quite clearly where it cartwheeled off the floor. The props had no damage and the gimbal still works completely fine. Now I actually was recording myself the entire time and I managed to pick up the audio of it impacting. I'll play it for you right now. The first sound is it hitting a tree, and then the second sound right here is the impact. It sounds like a gunshot. I think it's safe to say that by the sound of that, it hit at speed, and this is built fairly well.
There it goes.
I think we tested that. Now, a great point to point out here as well is that it managed to close off the file. It wasn't corrupt. I was recording the video from this directly, and it closed it. It opens with no issues. It doesn't go as long as the goggles cached view, but I think that's because where it hit the ground and catapulted into the trees, that's probably where the battery came out, so it ends a little bit sooner. But still, it closed the file. That's amazing in itself. So I'm still very much a terrible pilot when it comes to flying this, but this is my experience so far. I find it a lot of fun to fly now, and as I said, I need to get more batteries. So my advice to you, if you're thinking about getting this or if you just get it, first, straight out of the box, change the rates. They're no good if you don't have previous experience. Avoid the sim, just go to a big open field where it's safe to fly, you're not in a no-fly zone, and just put it in normal mode and just practice getting used to it. Because you're gonna be either flying like this, the little grip method, or just with your thumbs, and it's nothing like a regular drone where you just, if you want to go forward fast, you just push it all the way forwards. If you do that, it's going to disappear into the sky. You're probably just going to go a tiny little bit up. It's that sensitive, and you've got to relearn how you think you fly a drone. It's nothing like flying a regular DJI drone, as I said. And don't expect to get comfortable for like 5 batteries worth of flights. It's what I found, and you might find the same too. You might be a wizard and just get good after your first one, but that was not my experience. Now, with all that being said, I think, honestly, this costs too much. I get why DJI have to price this at what they did, nothing against them. They're the first people to do anything like this in the FPV world, and it's incredible. It all works just straight out the box, no issues. There's no other FPV system out there that does that. But you're gonna have to put in a lot of time to practice with this, and the risk of crashing it, losing it, destroying it in a split second, I don't know if it's worth it. Oh, and if you're looking for a case as well, I'll get this one sec. I was looking for a while to find one, and this is the one I settled on, and it was hard to get hold of because it wasn't out yet, but this is a Nanook 9 something. I'll put a link down below for you. It's not an affiliate link. I didn't get sent this. I bought this myself. It fits everything perfectly, and it protects it, and it's waterproof, and I love what Nanook does. They make great products, their lifetime warranty, and it's built in Canada as well. That's what I would buy. I mean, that's what I did buy, but I highly recommend this. There we go. That is my thoughts on the DJI FPV. If you just picked this up or you're learning to fly on this or something, let me know down below. Interested to know how other people are getting on as well. Maybe I'm just a terrible pilot and that's why I couldn't get on with it. It took me a while to get on with that, I guess. Yeah. All right. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Take care. I was actually interested as well, after I had now flown this for quite a while, how I would fly with this little thing. And this has taught me how to fly this a lot better. I'm going to show you on screen right now the very first, or one of the very first flights with this, and how good I am with this now. I mean, it's still not great, but I can fly this properly now. So yeah, if anything, I got to be a better pilot for this from this. Just cost me $2,000.